my pronunciation is not as good as the normal days, so you better pay attention this morning. Do you want your children or future children grow up very well, become happy, successful, doing a great thing for this society? Probably that's all the parents want in whatever countries. Today's my talk is related with that. There is one American pastor who serves in Seattle. When they were married like more than 17 years, but for some unknown reason, the wife of the pastor could not get pregnant, so they decided to adopt one child when the baby was 6 months old. And they did their best. They really loved, cherished the boy and provided the best education. Can you hear me? Yeah, best education. But when their son was in high school, he was caught by policemen and become imprisoned because in order to make money, he ran the errands for the people who are dealing with illegal arms, who are involved in illegal arms dealing. That was very shocking to the parents. So they could not understand why he had that type of thought. And his father went to the place when he adopted his boy and would like to know their parents. When they asked around, they discovered his biological father was in prison for 13 years for the illegal arms dealing. That boy was adopted when he was 6 months old. He did not know his father, but exactly for the same crime, they were imprisoned. The same story in Korea. There is one psychologist, Dr. Jung, who specialized in counseling, healing and counseling. One day he was visited by a middle-aged couple in Korea. As soon as they entered his office, they knelt down and they just said, "Please help us. Please help our children." So the professor was embarrassed. They have never met before. "So what's wrong? Please take a seat." And the couple started to talk about their children. They had one son and one daughter. The son is 23 years old. He's right now in Anyang Gyodoso. Anyang is a suburban city of Seoul, Anyang Correctional Facility. He was sentenced to 5 years. Which means it's a kind of a aggravated punishment. He was imprisoned many times before. Their 19-year-old daughter is in Cheongju Correctional Facility. That's basically for the ladies. because of the theft. So when the professor had a more deeper conversation with the couple, they candidly told him that they make a living by stealing things. They are actually thieves. They told him how they met. The guy was raised in an orphanage. But these days, the orphanage, the facility is very good. They are well taken care of. But right after Korean War, it's not that great facility. And since he was mid-teens, he started to steal things. In his early 20s, he was caught by a policeman. And in the same police station, he met his future wife. She was caught with the same crime, but because of a lack of evidence, they were released. So as soon as they were released, they lived together. They lived more than 20 years. And the professor asked, in order to change your children, you need to change yourself. So although they were thieves, they really wanted their children become a great person for this society. But strangely, whether he's a son or a daughter, when they reached fourth grade, they started to steal things in the classroom. So both of them were expelled from school 10 times. So they had to move to this or that place 10 times. It's a very, very hard life. And the professor said that you need to, parents should change first. And he was a Christian, so why don't you go to the nearby church in Chuncheon? Right now in Pyeongchang, the Winter Olympic is held. Chuncheon is a nearby city. Chuncheon is a pretty big city. So the couple went back their hometown and started to join some local, very small Protestant church, Nazareth, the Church of Nazareth. After the Sunday service, they told the same problem, the same agony to the pastor, and what am I supposed to do? The pastor recommended, why don't you read the Bible first? You are supposed to read 100 times. And the pastor gave them his Bible. The next day, Monday, the couple visited, pay a visit to the pastor, and they said, we are ready to read the Bible 100 times. But we don't think we can read that many times in our home. So they gave some money to the pastor. Please let us use the chapel in your church. So we will not leave this church until we finish the reading Bible 100 times. When they are hungry, they go out. Except that, especially the husband decided, I decided in my mind not to sleep. So actually, he just dozed at night and in order to finish reading the Bible 100 times. It took 10 months for the husband to finish. For his wife, it took a couple of more weeks. He finished reading the Bible 100 times. He finished that around in the middle of the night. And he was very much moved. And he burst into tears. And he immediately went to his wife and asked for forgiveness. Since if you met a great husband, our children, our life would not become like that. And he so bitterly and repentantly cried. And she cried also. And after that, once in a week, they wrote a letter to their son as well as to their daughter. And the son as well as the daughter started to become a little moved. Especially the son, who was 23 years old, was very well known in that prison. He's a kind of a very violent and completely unpredictable. He's always full of resentment and anger. When he's very mad, he chews something, some food, and if the prison guard passed in front of his cell, he just intentionally spit that to the prison guard. The prison guard got angry and sometimes beat that guy. Then he took something very sharp, whether it's a toothbrush or some handmade kind of a knife, and he just thrust that object into his belly. It happened several times. So nobody could touch it, the 23-year-old man. But after their parents were changed and they received a letter, he became a completely different person. And he was sentenced for 5 years, but after 2 years and 6 months, all his cellmates wrote a letter to the attorney in general in Korea. They wrote, "Prison is the place where they lock criminal, but that guy is an angel, so he does not belong here." It's a very exceptional case. He was pardoned after 3 years. His daughter was changed and pardoned, got the special pardon after 3 years. So I heard the son lives in Daejeon City, the daughter lives in Busan City as a model citizen. And their father passed away a couple of years ago. On deathbed, he would like to see that professor. And he asked to that professor, since you are a teacher, you are a Christian, you have a lot of a chance to speak in front of a lot of people. Please tell this gospel. When parents are changed, children will be changed. Several years ago, one of my teachers gave a Dharma talk in some local temple in Los Angeles. After service, one young person, the husband, was Samsung, the local branch manager, and he treated my teacher a lunch with his wife. He told to my teacher, "It's so strange. He and his wife cannot fight because whenever they started to quarrel or fight, not the next day, within several hours, his mother always called to him. What happened to you? So he cannot fight with his wife. So we know that especially children and the parents are strongly, in terms of our mind and heart, are very strongly linked. A lot of experiment shows that when husband is changed, the wife is changed, even though they love each other, the other spouse is not affected that much. When they live together, of course, they are influenced by the spouse, but not that much. But when it comes to the children, whether they live with their parents since they were young, or they are in another country, they become significantly changed, unawares. So this kind of effect really puzzled a lot of scholars. So some scholars says that it is because parents and the children have the same DNA, chromosome. So according to the quantum physics, each particle emits the waves. So parents and the children share the same DNA and chromosome. So the waves that's emitted is really, really shared and linked. One medical doctor conducted this experiment. For example, if my hair is pulled out, and whether it is kept in Boston or Japan or Africa, depending on my mood. For example, my brain is linked with some electrode and check the waves, which tells how much my mind is centered or disturbed. Then even the hair is in another country, the waves is really synchronized. When they conduct the experiment with the blood, the result is the same. So our scripture says, this is very important chapter. Once enlightened to the truth of this Won Sang, the symbol of this ultimate reality, we will know that all things in the universe are non-dual, despite their different names. All things in the universe are not different despite their different names. For example, this is book, microphone, handkerchief. It looks separate, but it's all linked together. For example, just like Thich Nhat Hanh say often, when I see these sheets of paper, I see sunshine, tree, rain, wind. This paper contains all the universe. Each and everything contains the universe and the manifestation of all the other things. So from one perspective, it's not mysterious or super spiritual. Parents and the children are linked. Especially when I was a leader, my father and mother get along pretty well, but how could our parents become a perfect parent? When I was in elementary school, on and off they fought in front of us. I think it affected me a little bit. So one statistic tells the level of terror or fear when your child experience when they are before 6 years old, but after they are in elementary school, but they are not that seriously affected. When they were very little, when they see their parents fighting, the level of fear is exactly the level when the condemned criminal stand on the gallows with his neck around the noose. It's exactly that level. So, especially when, even though we can forget about that, it starts to become embedded in our mind and heart. So many girls tend to become, not always, but tend to become somewhat depressed. For boys, they start to be addicted to something, game or drug, etc. But whether they are young or older, but whether they live together or they live in a separate place, when parents are changed, the children does not know. Usually their parents are changed. Then they are affected. So let me finish telling this story. So one of the ministers in Korea, so that lay person's name is Mr. Che. Che is very common family name. Che's couple asked for counseling. Just like many married couple, that they fought a lot. And they had a lot of sessions. So the minister recommended, why don't you join some special workshop for healing for the married couple. So after they joined that session for several months, and the husband sincerely asked forgiveness to his wife, and the wife said the same thing to his husband. Then one thing very surprising happened. They had 38-year-old daughter. She has very serious depression. She could not get a job. But Mr. Che is a very rich person, so they send regularly money. But one day, she lives in Anyang city. Her daughter, several months later, her daughter visited their house, which is a very unprecedented thing. The doctor told me, I do not have to take a medication anymore. These days, I feel great. I think I better have an occupation. So the couple never said to their daughter that they went to the healing seminar, etc. But unawares, the daughter was affected that. So the bottom line is, when we are changed, our loved one will be changed. And the people around that person will be changed. So this is the way to brighten, illuminate this world. So changing our life is the starting point to better this society. Okay. Thank you.